John Donovan, originally born and reared in Callan. I was born with a disability, and it really affected my early years because I wasn't able to walk. When I was 7 years of age and I took my first steps. And it really affected me, you know what I mean? Just because I used to see all the other kids, normal kids like that, going around, and at times I used to be just saying to myself, Jesus, if I was like those, you know what I mean?
Cerebral palsy is a neurological disorder. It's a brain injury that occurs either during birth or before birth, but it can happen post-birth as well. There's different types of cerebral palsy, and it depends on what part of the brain is actually impaired. You can have either physical impairment, or you can have mental and intellectual impairments, but more often it's usually a combination of both. It affects movements, it can cause spasticity. People with cerebral palsy are prone to epileptic seizures. They can have visual impairments, some people can have hearing impairments. 3 out of every 4 people affected with cerebral palsy can actually walk.
So then after my childhood years, from 1970 to 2000, I started looking for a place of my own. And I knew Callan wasn't accessible, so I decided to move to Kilkenny. And in Kilkenny they gave me a place in the Irish Wheelchair Association to live for a number of years, and I lived on my own, fully independent. Come and go as you please, and time O'Reilly. So in 2001 I moved to Kilkenny. I was looking for a job, and a job came up that suited me down to the ground. It was Kilkenny Traffic Monitor. So in 2007, actually April 2007, I started.
I've been working with John Donovan for the last 9 years in the traffic section of the Kilkenny County Council. John's job involves monitoring disability bays, which are often blackguarded, for want of another word, by the public, but John diligently reports all the misdemeanours by text, and these are followed up by the wardens. And it gives a good positive impression to the public that our disabilities bays are being monitored by someone who has a disability themselves. In general, John is a pleasure to work with.
About this time last year, the housing officer came in, and they told me that I'd have to move out. Now, it was heartbreaking to move out to Claddaghcourt, because it was really a place I really enjoyed, and it was a special place, you know. I didn't know where to turn to then. If I could get a place within a week, and it was too short notice to get a place within a week in Kilkenny, I'd have took it, but I couldn't get it. I had a good friend of mine, a very, very good friend of mine, who worked tirelessly trying to, but he couldn't do anything either, you know what I mean?
It was crazy. The other evening I just met John, one of my best friends, and he just told me that he'd been thrown out, he'd been given a week's notice to get out of his accommodation. John is disabled, he's in a wheelchair, and what's he supposed to do?
So then I moved back to Daddy after all those years of being independent. And my mum was after passing on in 2006. Daddy was at home on his own. And he had his own independence himself, like I had in Kilkenny. And here I was moving back to him, and it wasn't fair on him, it wasn't fair on me. When I went back to Callan, I had a problem with getting in and out to work. And in the very beginning, the Irish Wheelchair Association facilitated me with a bus that brought me in and out to work. But a couple of weeks after, they told me that the bus would have to stop collecting me, because the bus was needed for something else. That really ground me. So I couldn't use public transport, and I couldn't use, because the bus was too high, the public bus was too high for me to jump in and out, up steps and down steps. So I had to use a taxi. And this is getting in and out. This is at €30 bop every time you come in and out. It's really you're trying to work coming in to work for. But the Wheelchair Association just turned their back on it. They didn't give me any support or nothing. Just turned their back. And it was quite frustrating and intense on every half that, do you know what I mean? So I pushed and trying to get back in. So the next thing, a place came for me in Kieran's College, the grounds of Kieran's College, where I am suited now. And here I am since, you know, and I'm back in, and it's fairly secure up there, you know what I mean? It's fairly nice too. You know, you're in the grounds of a very special place as well, just across the road from where I was. I was very happy that I moved back in, do you know what I mean? And because I needed to get back in, that was the basic reason I needed to get back in, you know. Taxis would be cut down then and I wouldn't need a taxi anymore, and, you know. So life is good now at the minute. I'm in my own place. I can come and go as I please. My job is safe and secure, and hopefully long may continue.